Today I shall be playing with a code reader. Let me start the vehicle. Every once in a while, in online forums, discussions of that like, whenever people come in asking for help because they're having issues, drivability issues with their vehicle, the first thing I usually say is, if you have a check engine light, go ahead and get it scanned for codes. And some people might ask, where can I get it done? How much is it going to cost? The answer is usually most auto parts stores can usually do that for you for free. But then other times people say, I don't have a check engine light. Why should I do it? So there are codes that can show up, or rather there are codes that can be present without necessarily showing up on your gauge cluster as a check engine light, and we usually say a CEL, which is a check engine light. It's the same thing as an SES light, which is service engine soon light, and the same thing as an MIL, malfunction indicator lamp or light. So MIL, SES, CEL, all the same thing. The M1 sometimes a little funky because people look at that as maintenance reminder, but it's actually a check engine light. So I'll show you what that looks like. Let me go ahead. You can see that this car has no check engine light on, right? Let's go ahead and read the code. Let me turn this off. It's a little loud. Okay, so as you can see, the MIL status, it says it's on, right? Interesting thing, which mine is not on at all. And then let me go ahead and read codes. Stored codes. Well, let me start with pending codes. None at all. Okay, that's fine. Let's go for stored codes. These are the solid codes. I usually call this solid versus soft codes. Oh, now he wants to check what kind of vehicle I have. Let me just go for other, because I know this one doesn't have infinity. Okay, it says P1421, which is, and this is going to be a different story, but we have a solid code over here. Thing is, not every code that is present with your vehicle ends up causing a check engine light. And one example I can think of is Nissan Maximas and knock sensors. The knock sensor only shows up as a problem if you've got another problem, and then when you scan your car, like when I had misfires, you might have seen those other videos I had, this P1421 showed up. But right now it exists. I could erase it if I wanted to, but I'll just leave it there. I don't like erasing codes, so exit, just let it be. And I can prove to you that I have not erased my codes, because you can usually see that on live data, depending on what kind of tool you have. Want to go all the way down, if it moves, that is. Run time. Here, MIL distance, this one right here, it says it's been 217 kilometers since something happened, since the maintenance indicator light came on, or it's been on, the status has been there. So this one has been on for that long. I have not erased codes, I've not turned anything off. And one way I usually prove to people that you haven't done anything funky to erase your codes, assuming that they don't have a code reader to erase your codes. Some people usually just disconnect the battery, and when you go to your trip button, AB right here, you can see mine has 8,626. So I have not disconnected my battery in at least that long. Whenever, back in the day, there were two main ways you could get swindled with regards to hidden issues with a vehicle. When people sell your car with no check engine lights, one, they could have a tool like this and just go and erase codes right before you buy the car, and they can get it to pass emissions testing and all that and sell it to you. Number two, they could disconnect the battery. Again, these things have become so cheap recently, but one way people could do was erase the battery and disconnect the battery, which erases the codes. And so those are some of the things I usually look at when I'm buying a vehicle. I look at it and say, well, your battery is old, but why are your numbers all zeros over here or very, very low? Is it because you might have a weak battery? Maybe you just needed a jump. Any one of these pieces of evidences by themselves might not really make a strong case, but when you see so many red flags, you start thinking, I might be getting swindled over here. The other one, though, this one is a very interesting one. People used to say, my check engine light is not on. As you can see, mine is not on, but as I said, I've got a very minor code. I was hoping I could catch this. Although I had fixed my code P0303, the misfire code was still here, in that whenever I scanned the vehicle, I would still see it. And so I was hoping to catch that, and I could use that as a demonstration as to codes that can still be under the surface but not show up as a check engine light. So I don't know if you caught this, but let me go ahead and turn this off. See, back in the day, things were a little different because you had your key and you turn it into the second position and then you could see. So right now I'm going to push button once, which won't do anything. Let me push it a second time and just watch. Do you see this right here? Service engine soon. So that's there, right? Right now it's just going to stay like that because, the car is not really started. But when I start the vehicle, it should come on, and then all these lights are going to turn on and then go off. Do you notice that? Maybe that wasn't a very good test because the lights were still on already. Let me start from black. There you go. So what happens during this time? This is a bulb or, lamp check. And what happens is that every malfunction indicator or every warning lamp in your gauge cluster is supposed to turn on during this time, but then they go off almost immediately. So you could see that the check engine light did indeed turn on. So that's the other way I usually do. So back in the day, when all your gauge cluster lighting was performed by individual bulbs, what people would do would go back there and either disable the circuit to that check engine light or actually remove the bulb. I've seen that. And again, just learning how vehicles work and things like that. Whenever I test a car, I don't want to meet some guy with a car running already and they don't want to show you anything. I turn it off and start it back up slowly, going through the paces, making sure that that check engine light is actually present in the vehicle. Because if they turned it off, well, yeah, you're right, the check engine light is never on. And then most people are, I have to admit, I'm in the minority when it comes to scanning my vehicle. I scan my vehicle I want to say every week, but no, I'm not that diligent. At least every 2 weeks, even if there's nothing going on over there. I just want to scan it just to see how my vehicle is trending. Think of it like going to the doctor for preventive stuff, right? You don't have to wait till you're sick to look at it. Just get checked every once in a while. And especially the older you get, right? Age joke. Anyway, that's bad. I just wanted to point that out with regards to codes and the check engine light showing up and how those relate to each other and how you can use this knowledge to make better decisions whenever you go to look at vehicles if you wanted to buy them, And here's a funny thing. I've actually seen a situation, when people say that, I had a check engine light, but then it just fixed itself. Crazy as it is, I've seen a vehicle. I know this person. This was a friend of mine, and they drove a car with a check engine light for such a long time because that was the only bulb that was constantly on apart from everything else in the vehicle, that the check engine light bulb actually blew. It died just because it was constantly on, for such a long time. So that was another funny one. Yeah, the circuit was not intentionally disabled, but that light was on for such a long time that it died. And well, yeah, I guess they could have sold the car saying no check engine light, but a diligent buyer would just go ahead and do this test right here. Turn it off, and when you turn your key to the second position, you can see, does a check engine light come on or not? In my case, it's on. So we're all honest over here. Okay. All right. This video has been much longer than I intended it to be, but if you ever come to my videos and you're just browsing through trying to see what kind of stuff you could learn from my experiences, I hope this will be a decent use of your time. Okay, all the best. And if you come across my video looking for something else, I sure hope that you can still go ahead and find whatever it is you're looking for. All right, all the best. Later.